Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh by Shem Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who were well. Peace and blessings to the whole elect of Israel. Alright, this lesson I'm going to get into confusion of faces. Because that's a topic I tend to talk about quite a bit because there's a lot of Israelites, people that know they're Israelites even, that don't understand the concept of confusion of faces, even if it, is a pretty simple concept to grasp, right? Because they're too carnal, right? That's a way to put it, man. They're too carnal, right? They solely focus on the outward appearance, which is not what the scripture says to do, right? Because as you know, and as everybody teaches, you are what your father is, because that's what the scriptures say. So if you are what your father is, it doesn't matter what you look like, because it's the father's seed that differentiates you from having the spirit of an Israelite or the spirit of a heathen. All right. So a prime example that the Achaim and I like to use is Blake Griffin, because his father and his son. All right. But there's a lot of examples of confusion of faces. All right. And even right off the bat, it could be a so-called black dad and a white mom, and that baby right away can look more white than anything, man. Right? But it's the spirit that separates, because there's people that look like so-called Negroes that are Edomites, that are heathens, because their forefather's side goes back to Edom. All right? So quit playing, these type of games like it's completely all about skin tone, man. The skin tone of the Israelites and the Messiah, that does matter, because if it didn't, they wouldn't lie and it wouldn't be in the scriptures, right? Because that helps us pinpoint who the people are, also equivalating the curses and just the overall prophecy that goes in to show that the Israelites are the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, so-called, right? Make up the 12 tribes of Israel, all right? And but when it comes to who's an Israelite, that's not always the case that they're going to fall in under one of those three categories, right? And you also need to remember that some of those people that call themselves Latinos could be Spaniards, which are Edomites, right? And then some of those, there's some of those Latinos are Jakes that look more like Edomites from mixing with Spaniards, all right? So you just need to, understand the difference. You need to pay attention to the spirit over the flesh. All right. Can we, look at it in a carnal perspective? Yes, but it's better to look at it in a spiritual way. Or you shouldn't solely go off looks, is what I'm trying to say. All right. You got a lot of Jakes now, Jake men that go with so-called white women. You could have white Judites, white Benjamites. First of all, just to put this out there, there's no such thing as white or black people. Right? The Israelites are different shades of brown. We're so-called Negroes, the Southern Kingdom, so-called Latinos, and Native Americans for the Northern. But they call themselves white because white means pure. So really, the Israelites are white, not physically looking like they're not red, they're not pink. They're white as in they're pure and they're holy. But right now we're not pure because most of our people are going against the Heavenly Father, which its true name is Yahweh and His Son Yahweh Shai. Alright, but the point of this lesson is that there are Israelites that are going to look like heathen nations, even so-called white people. Alright, so they will look pink or red as you put it or see it, and they're actually Israelites because their father's lineage goes back to a tribe. Alright, so let's just take a look at this picture right here that I pulled up from the internet. As you can see, it's Blake Griffin, which is an NBA player. On the right, on the right side of him holding a child, which that child is his son, is his father. So look how dark his father is, and then look at Blake Griffin. A lot of people didn't even know that Blake Griffin was so-called black, right? Let alone his child. If that child grew up around your children, you'd probably think he's a so-called white person, except with a tan, man. But he's not. Blake Griffin's father is a Levite. That means Blake Griffin's a Levite. That means his son's a Levite. If his son went with a white woman when he got older, and the baby looked even more so-called white, that baby's still a Levite. That can go on for millions and billions, trillions of years, which is obviously hyperboles, because Lord willing, these nukes can destroy America in less than a year. But I'm saying if that were the case, all right, it went on for, decades and centuries, that baby through father's seed would still be an Israelite. All right, as long as it goes through men, because if Blake Griffin's son had a daughter, and that daughter went with a so-called, that his daughter went with a heathen, then that baby would be a heathen. But if Blake Griffin's son had a son, and he went with a so-called white woman, that child that comes out of her would still be an Israelite, right? And this concept, which is reality, is way too hard to grasp for a lot of people. All right. There's actually a lot of examples. See, I don't know why that's what it says for the date, because I actually got this picture yesterday. And by the way, today is May 24th, 2018. All right, so yesterday was the 23rd of May, 2018. But we can look up some more pictures of this. What I like to look up is quarter. And this goes with any tribe. All tribes have confusion of faces. Quarter black child. All right. Because that's what Blake Griffin's son would be considered. Now, what matters is what side is. See, now let's look at this. These are all his children, and they all, look more on the white side. While the ones, like the one that he's holding looks more on the white side. But let's say this man right here, let's say his father's a so-called black man. That means he's an Israelite. He's an Israelite. He's an Israelite, and he's an Israelite. I don't know what the woman is. All right? That's the point. Okay? You see? Those are Israelites, because it goes by your father's seed. Right? Because what separates... See, this would be an Edomite. If that man is a heathen, then that baby is also a heathen. Regardless of the mother. The mother doesn't matter when it comes to what the child is. All right? Another example I like to use is logic. Alright, a lot of people thought he was a so-called white person, but his dad's actually a so-called black man. Alright. See? He's an Israelite. See, so that's what matters, man. Your father, because what separates, Israelites from heathens? The spirit. The spirit is what separates them. Because look at, like I said, there's some heathens that look like so-called Negroes. What separates them from other so-called Negroes? The spirit. That's what makes them an Edomite or a heathen, whatever heathen nation it is. All right. So you can't get caught up so much on looks, man, because especially in these latter days, there's going to be a lot of Israelites that come out that look like these so-called white people or Chinese people that are really Israelites. All right, and you can't get caught up on that, man. Because, Yahweh Shem Shai does not want to see you turn down a member of the elect because of how he looks. Alright? So let's get into the scriptures. Alright? This is Daniel. Well, actually, let me start at Numbers just to prove that he goes by your father. Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old and upward, by their polls. So it goes by your father, alright? Whatever tribe your father is, that's what you are, alright? It doesn't matter what your mother is, okay? It doesn't matter. That doesn't change anything about you. That may change, and alter your look, like how you look, but that doesn't change what you really are, alright? I can even use myself as an example. My great-grandfather on my father's side, because remember it's the way it goes through men, through the fathers. He's a so-called Negro from the tribe of Judah. Alright, so my grandpa, he was so-called half-black, and my dad was so-called a quarter-black, and my dad probably he doesn't even know that. Alright, but then my dad, also went with a white woman, and so here I am. I have, kind of washed away Negro features. All right, but that doesn't matter because the spirit of me is an Israelite from the tribe of Judah. All right, because that's what I am. But you just need to look at it in a spiritual aspect, man. All right, there will be Israelites that look like other nations. That's really not that hard to understand, man. I mean, look at anybody, man. His father's a so-called black man. All right, and that was right away, man. Sometimes it doesn't even take that long for the baby to look like another nation. All right, sometimes a so-called black man mixes with a so-called white woman and makes a baby that looks more white, man. That's still an Israelite. All right, and it doesn't matter how long that goes. Okay? It's not that hard to understand, guys. It really isn't. All right? Which is why you need to, watch out. All right? Legit. Because you could be best friends with this guy. He's like, yeah, he's a so-called black man, but he's really a terror, man. All right? And you just got to watch out. All right? That's the point. Because there can be people that look like so-called white people that really are Israelites, and so-called black people that really are Edomites. All right? You have to judge the spirit by the spirit. All right, now I'm going to go to Daniel. And if this is too confusing, that's because it's not meant for you to understand, man. It's really not that deep. Can you go off looks? Yes. But you should also equivalate the spirit. Also put the spirit in that, man. Because the spirit is what changes, what makes them a heathen or an Israelite, not how they look. All right. Daniel chapter 9 verse 7. O Lord, righteousness belongeth unto thee, but unto us confusion of faces, as at this day to the men of Judah, and to the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and unto all Israel that are near and that are far off, through all the countries whither thou hast driven them, because of their trespass that they have trespassed against thee. O Lord, to us belongeth confusion of face, to our kings, to our princes, and to our fathers, because we have sinned against thee. Alright, so this is a thing, like I said, that occurs with every tribe. Let's get Hosea chapter 7 verse 8. Ephraim, he hath mixed himself among the people. Ephraim is a cake not turned. There's a pancake flip and there's a pancake that isn't. One is really light and one can be dark brown, man. Alright. Romans chapter 8 verse 16. The Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit that we are children of the Most High. Alright. I'm going to get one more. So, mixed. There's no such thing as a mixed child. You are what your father is, man. There's no such thing as a mixed race. You can't be half an Israelite. Either you're an Israelite or not. It has nothing to do with DNA. It goes by your fathers, man. Well, DNA in a sense like, oh, well, ancestry DNA says this. No. It goes by your father. Alright? It doesn't matter which one you're more of, or however, these devils put it. Oh, well, you're actually more this than you are so-called black. It's like, it doesn't matter. It goes by your fathers. Alright? Period. If you're a man of the Lord, or, a woman that follows that, is with the man, point is, if you go by the scriptures, you follow the Holy Bible, then you need to understand this. Alright? Because this is not, there's no such thing as mixed, man. So stop saying that you're, I'm mixed. No, you're not. You are what your father is, and if your so-called father is a heathen, then so are you. Alright? First Esdras chapter 8 verse 69. The nation of Israel, the princes, the priests, and Levites, have not put away from them the strange people of the land, nor the pollutions of the Gentiles, to wit, of the Canaanites, Hittites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and the Moabites, Egyptians, and Edomites. For both they and their sons have married with their daughters, and the holy seed is mixed with the strange people of the land, and from the beginning of this matter, the rulers and the great men have been partakers of this iniquity. So it says the holy seed is mixed. It's mixed with heathen nations, but that child is not mixed, man. Oh, well, this child's half, Israelite, half Ishmaelite. No, this child is whatever the father is. All right, that's a point blank period. Romans chapter 8, verse 6, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace, because the carnal minded is enmity against Yahweh, for it is not subject to the law of the Most High, neither indeed can be. Alright, which this is going into other things more than this per se, but this still applies. Alright. Don't be so carnally minded when it comes to who's an Israelite and who isn't, man. If you're in a camp or you're teaching, you're doing a video and so-called white person or so-called Chinese guy is interested and it clicks with him, that's probably an Israelite, man. Alright? So with that said, I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Shemal Shai, double honors to the apostles, and that was a great millstone, for well, peace and blessing to the whole collective Israel. Alright? Shalom.